Welcome to CyberBytes, the podcast. I'm your host, Joseph Cooper, co-founder of Aspron Search. This week's guest, we have Alon Jackson, CEO and co-founder at Astrix Security. After spending over a decade in the famous 8200 unit and leading R&D at Argus, which was acquired for a rumoured 500 million, he and his co-founder Idan Gour decided to found Astrix Security to manage and secure non-human identities. How are you, mate?
Very good, very good. Thank you for having me. How are you doing?
I'm all good. So I'm guessing no baby yet?
No, not yet.
Not
But very
yet.
soon. Very soon. The only baby for now is Astrix.
Good man, good man. It's really funny. I had a guest on the show about a month ago, and he had his child one day before the podcast, and I was like, "Wow, thanks for
amazing." And
thanks
it didn't get you delayed.
commitment, bro, commitment." And he looked amazing as well. So yeah,
Perfect.
fair play to him. But no, good to see you, mate.
Was it him or her? It was her. She gave
Robert.
labor and then went on the
No,
podcast.
no. Robert Johnston, big shout out.
Cool.
Anyways, yeah, always good. Thanks, mate. Are you in New York or Tel Aviv at the minute?
No, in New York, in New York.
Yeah,
I'm
really.
always in between, but mostly in New York these days.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I missed you in Black Cat, but I did see Idan, your CTO, so I had a quick catch up with him on the business hall. Did he give any feedback on how Black Cat was at all?
Perfect. So first, if you met Idan, you met the best half of us. And yeah, no, Black Hat was amazing actually this year, and we got the main stage there. And in DEF CON with the zero day vulnerability we found with Google.
Yeah.
We had like 7 people, on the grounds there. Had an amazing CISO breakfast. We took like a big, coffee shop at the Mandalay there. It was a great event for us this year.
Yeah, nice. Well, look, Alon, with all my guests on the show, I like to go right back to where it all began and sort of how you got into the industry, mate.
Yeah. So first, as a lot of young Israelis hacking things from early stage. But really, I met, Idan, like you shared, I met him as, my best friend and partner in crime. We met like 15 years ago, quite a long time. We were recruited to an Army Military Excellence program. We each served over a decade at 8200. So, tons of management experience from there. We each got also our majors, in computer science and tons of geeky stuff from there. We both left 8200 after quite a long career and joined different cybersecurity startups. So, we've been in the industry, filled it and stuff like that. So Idan was in Deep Instinct, a company that does machine learning based endpoint protection. I led the R&D at Argus, one of the first automotive cybersecurity companies, which was a great run, sold for almost $500 million over there. So, it all started from, an amazing friendship in a basic training 15 years ago and really going through a lot, both in the army, then in the industry before building our own baby, Astrix.
Yeah, love that. So you was at Argos. So I had Offer on the show at Black Cat. I did a live face to face with him. That was a great episode actually. Obviously that was like vehicle cybersecurity, right?
Yeah, automotive. Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of a crazy world. These cars are iPhones on wheels, if you like.
Yeah, absolutely. So how let's talk about Astrix straight away. Let's dive straight in. Obviously, from vehicle security at Argos, very different. Like where did the inspiration come from to found Astrix?
This is actually great question. So this actually has maybe a lot more to do with what I did before this, right? Before Argus, before the time in Argus. Of course, Argus gets you a lot into how does startup operate, right? What does it mean to scale? What does it mean to selling for customers globally, right? And stuff like that. But more from the technical and the security challenge was really my former experience, of course, more on the offensive side at 8200, right? And taking that knowledge to what we do today. And we understood, identity is fundamental for security. It's always been, right? It's just growing in importance. And, this is actually the new perimeter, right? And while we have so many tools out there to help us, manage user access, right, and human identities, there's nothing today to help up with the non-human identities, right? Machines are, outnumbering humans. Everything is as a service. AI today is kind of crazy, and we've got nothing to help us manage these API connections, plugins, third-party applications, right? Secrets, credentials, wherever they may be. And that's kind of, first, from the attacker point of view, you understand that, this is an easy access, right? That the industry didn't get, a good grasp, or there actually almost no tools out there that are adequate to manage the new pace of these tools and applications. And the second thing is that this is a huge opportunity that will only grow with time, right? So it's a big problem today, and everything is going to be even more interconnected to everything via APIs, right? And this is really growing exponentially. We're actually seeing the exponential growth in this short lifetime of Astrix already.
Yeah. Is this a new category?
Yes, it is actually. We're working, with Gartner very, very closely. And okay, where does this sit, right? You can think of like third-party risk management as like on the one side of things, identity on the other side of things, right? Cloud security. So this really sits like, in the intersection of a lot. Credentials, right? If you look at like key security, right? Credential protection and stuff like that. So really securing the access of the modern machines, if you like, right? It used to be machine to machine. Really, these days, we don't own machines. Everything is as a service, right? The new apps are actually, the new machines. And they don't connect on a TCP level. They connect on an API level, which makes it much easier to connect, right? Which actually creates much more connections. You don't need an admin anymore to configure a certificate or do, technical IT stuff. In order to connect machines, applications just connect in a click of a button. Usually it's like an OAuth consent screen, right? And really this is why this problem, we call it app to app instead of machine to machine, right? And that's kind of, the area we're lighting in.
Yeah. I saw some of the numbers around the problem that you are solving, and like how many apps and downloads, even employees and things like that. How big of a problem is this?
Yeah, I think some of the challenge here is the fact that actually users don't download anymore, right? If you want to use a new service or a new tool, right, you just log into it, you connect to it, right? You don't actually have to install, and you don't have to reboot your computer or anything. We seldom use these kind of tools today, right? So everything as a service really enables us to connect things in a click of a button. We call it consent fatigue, by the way, right? So we know it on our personal phones, right? You get this new app that asks to access our personal photos and messages, and we're like, why, this freaking flashlight needs to access my personal messages, right? So on the corporate level, we're seeing thousands of these apps that are interacting with each other. They're connecting, of course, to core critical systems in the organization. It could be CRMs, it could be email system, it could be their production environment. Really, everything is connected to everything because we need, right? We want things to interoperate, right, with each other. And actually, for most organizations, this is just, out of control. They've got no grasp of how this graph, right, of third party actually looks like. And of course, third parties are sub-processors, anything to do with compliance, right? So this is a big issue.
Yeah. So what exactly are Astrix doing to combat this?
Yeah. So you can think of us, there's a few layers here, right? But basically you can think of us as a connection, another connection that helps secure and monitor all other connections that you have, right? Across your environments, right? So we help you understand who connected what, with what permissions, when was it hooked up? Is it being used? Is it being abused? All these questions that are super hard, right, to answer manually. Sometimes they're infeasible to really answer. You get them in a click of a button and really get this graph, right, of what's going on and what's connected where. And it's not only a data thing, it's also an operation thing, right? It's a third-party vendor that can actually change your CRM, right? For instance, yeah, that's how crazy these things are. And going back to the fundamentals, right, they're all these solutions to do with users, right? From security posture management to access reviews, anomaly detections, secrets protection, secure access is VPN, right? How do we deliver all these different solutions that are needed, right, in the user space to the non-user space, right? So that's, a big, I always say we're not building a product. We're building a company, and there's a lot of different solutions that are needed in order to really serve this growing problem space.
Yeah, yeah. How about with like the increase of Gen AI and as you see it everywhere, but how's that
Yeah,
affecting Astrix, like from a
yeah.
company and customer perspective?
Yeah, so first, I think it affects us all, right? It affects
Mm.
all every industry practically, right? Our lives, we can all feel it. It's amazing. My mother even knows what AI is. Specifically, when you think of artificial intelligence, it's almost synonyms with non-human identities, right? And that's crazy. So this is an amazing tailwind for us, right? And when you think of AI, right, these are open AI APIs connecting to your data. You want them to connect to your data. You want to connect, ChatGPT to your email to help you write, better text or whatever. But then these models actually feed on our data. This is how they improve, right? Usually they are over privileged, right? And this is sometimes, especially if they're freemium, they're very expensive on permissions, right? So that's in the core of what we do. So one, we're seeing more and more, and the AI is just the latest and greatest tool. There would always be something, the next thing that everyone wants to use and connect to our CRM and to production environment, right? The question is, how do we enable businesses to connect these third parties, right? Use the latest and greatest in a secure way. And this is exactly what we're here for. And actually, it's amazing. We're getting our customers, they're using us these days to understand, right? What AI tools do we have out there? Who connected what, right? And how do I get an automated policy, right, around the adoption of this new tech?
Nice. You mentioned customers then, like who's this for, and can you share any of your like case studies or recent wins?
Yeah, yeah. So some of the latest, I have to go through my head the ones that we're
So
allowed
many.
we're allowed to mention. Why not? So first of all, you can see amazing logos, on our site.
Yeah.
Just to make sure I won't spill out the latest names, but these are global fortune companies, and some of the latest wins. I think understanding that with the bigger organizations, this is out of control, right? And they've
Mm.
actually got no grasp on what's going on, especially the statistics. I think you mentioned it before. We
Mm.
find almost even more than tenfold times non-human connections to human connection, right? So you can think of the companies that have 5,000 employees, they have 50,000 APIs and secrets and tokens and connections and webhooks, and it's a long list of types of non-human connections, right, that they've got no understanding, right? And fundamentally, this is controlling the access to our core systems. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So understanding this is the basics of security, and always going back to the basics is the most important part. It's not like a niche vulnerability somewhere in a specific component. Is really understanding, right, grasping what APIs are connecting to our production environment. Yeah. That's why it's so important for our customers. And actually, the best thing we're experiencing lately is the customer promotion, right? So they're actually pointing us, to their colleagues, to their friends, and that's the best
Yeah,
way
yeah.
as a startup.
Yeah, absolutely. Talking about being a startup, so I met your like founding engineer, like R&D team in Vegas for Black Hat last year. So I've
Nice.
been familiar with who you guys are and what you're up to. Obviously recently, what, 12, 14 weeks ago, we had RSA. You was a finalist for the Sandbox competition. How was that experience for you?
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, RSA, being the top 10 at RSA, there is one of maybe the leading, right, contest for cybersecurity startups in the world. It's a dream come true for any cybersecurity founder. Amazing stage. A lot of exposure there. We got a lot of interest. I feel like now the name Astrix is out there. People actually stop me saying, "Hey, you're from Astrix." It's an amazing feeling, right? Just being out there. The experience itself, I think was great. The most stressful part is really the buzzer. There's you have 3 minutes. If you don't make it within there's a huge kind of sound. You don't want to
Yeah.
get there. So looking at thousands of people in the crowd, that's all right, right? But the buzzer is actually what got me more stressed than anything.
Yeah, no, I get you, I get you. And obviously recently went through Series A, so what, 25 mil Series A.
Yeah.
What are your plans for that? What does that mean and why's that so instrumental for you guys right now?
Yeah, yeah. So first of all, I want to thank again our partners and investors here. So CRV and the
Yeah,
Best
Bessemer.
and X2 for really pushing us forward all the way until today. And this funding will really enable us to continue both expanding on the go-to-market side, but also leading the product innovation in the space. Like we said, there's so much to do here. There's so much, it's still such a green field. So this is really important, especially these days. You don't see a lot of A rounds around, right? So that's an amazing milestone for us. That will really enable us to get a huge moat in front of the market. And the company is really doubling down and doubling in size. And it's easy because amazing people just bring amazing people. It's like a cycle, right, that feeds itself, which is great. And of course, our growing customer base, right? So both in numbers and in size, like we shared before, now serving really some of the largest Fortune companies out there.
Nice. As I say, I've met some of your founding team. Great guys. And that's something I really want to ask about on this pod is, and I know you're hiring aggressively, so I'm hoping this will bring some attention to the business for you as well. But when you are specifically hiring, like what specifically do you look for skills and attribute wise? Because I know you have a really elite technical team out of Israel. Can you tell me what are you looking for from candidates?
Yeah, so it's very simple. I always say it's two layers, right? And technical stuff is things that you can learn, right? I think Israel is being blessed with amazing tech, amazing people, right? Amazing talent in that sense. We've been blessed to have amazing core teams with us and solving a very hard problem, right? And in problem and growing a problem space in that sense. But really, before everything, right, we're first looking for amazing people. That's the first thing, right? And then, super professionals to join the team. But in this order, and this is very, very important, because as shared before, we're not building a product, right? We're building a company. And to build a company, it starts with culture, right? It starts with how we actually do things, not just, the things we actually do, right? And really building a place where we all want to work at, right? This takes amazing people from the ground up, right? And we're still in such early stages these days. You really need the people to, embed the DNA that you want in the daily processes. So that's, the first, and that's of course across, right? So it could be for the technical guys back in Tel Aviv. It could be, for the go-to-market team. We're now building across, by the way, the east, mid, and of course west side. So we have sites right now all across the states. But this, is really for any position.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's really important that like one bad egg really can like rot the whole team. Like one bad hire really can be like catastrophic. From a DNA perspective, obviously, like I'm guessing that cybersecurity experience and working in a startup, from the go-to-market piece, is there anything specific that you might like to see from any of the candidates that might be interested in joining you guys? Or what other categories might sort of cross over quite nicely, because this is quite a new category what you guys are doing? Is it like cloud security? Would they be good profiles for you?
Sorry, I missed your last sentence.
No worries. No, it's all good. Is it in terms of the talent that you're looking for from a category perspective? Obviously you're creating a new category.
Yep.
What sort of backgrounds might you be interested in from candidates who are interested in joining Astrix right now?
Sure. Yeah. So I think you phrased it exact, right? So I think it's really bringing to market something that is new, right? It's a lot of evangelism. It's a lot of explaining, right? Why do you actually need this, right? Sometimes, organizations don't actually have a budget line, right? For this new thing. And this is, has its pros and its cons, right? Because it's unique, right? If you get the right customer, he actually understands what you want, right? But how do you figure out, right? Is he the right customer that will understand and is actually just been waiting for Astrix to come, right? So experiencing, early stage, revolutionizing, innovative startups before that, right? That's the best sign, right? If you don't have that, so you really have to prove much more that you can actually do it, right? It's much easier coming into, a market that has already been there and just, setting something that, is more of a commodity and just trying to feature fight and explain why you're better, right? So 50% of the times you'll do it, 50% of the times maybe they'll choose your competitor, right? But coming into a new field, right? Building a new category takes much more, I'd say it starts with courage, right? and then much more precision, right, in terms of who are you actually targeting. So getting, the ICP, the ideal customer profile, in place is super important, right? The market is endless. The question is, where do you start and where it's easiest to start?
Yeah, nice. Particularly now you've started to get customers, and in the short period of time that you guys have been running, how has it evolved? Particularly now you've got customers, like with their sort of feedback and what they're telling you and features they might like added. Like how's it evolved over the last 2 years? Is it a year and a half maybe? How long have you been?
Very much. I think it's amazing to see our customers actually use Astrix in ways that we might have didn't expect, when we built it. And one of the most interesting things is really the stickiness of the solution. So the way that different users in the organizations are actually using our platform, right? So we built this for security teams, right? But then you get IT, you get DevOps, you get compliance, even legal teams, right? They're asking for users to our platform to want to see what's going on, to understand what's connected to what's the keys, the credentials, the secrets we have, what third parties do we have in our environments, right? So these are super kind of interesting feedback, or really kind of pull, right, that we're getting from our customers that we actually didn't expect. And like, we said before, the last half a year, everything has been AI, right? So seeing our customers actually use Astrix and just, target it as, let's see what AI tools are there, right? What are they exposed to, how they're being used and stuff like that. That's another kind of use case, right? That of course we're doubling down into today. So really seeing these different use cases that our customers are actually bringing forward. It's not us saying, hey, this is how you should use this solution. It's really a tool for you, right, to play with. Is actually amazing, and some of the most exciting part of the journey so far.
Yeah, quality. When did you move over to the States, and when did you move stateside, New York?
Yeah, about a year ago.
Okay.
I think we felt like, okay, the product is there, the tech is there, we got the fit, right? It's time to really bring it into market as soon as possible. Yes, I made the move here to New York. It used to be that founders would go to the Bay Area, right? These days, most especially Israeli founders, you'll see them come to New York, like the kind of a middle ground between, the West innovative tech, right, and the VC scene, and the Israeli guys back at home.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really interesting you say that, because you're right. It used to be Bay Area. And I spoke to another Israeli founder literally this week. I'll say who it is. It's from Astrix Security. They're a seed stage. And he's moving to Boston in the next few weeks, which I found really interesting. Obviously, there's like 9 unicorns based out of that state. But I just found that as a state really interesting that he was moving there. Well, look, yeah, amazing. Where are we taking this? Like, what's next for Astrix? And over the next few years, obviously, you're doubling down on headcount and obviously customers. Like, what's the future?
Yeah, I think, continuing, as I said, to innovate, right, in our space, and to take it to, a very maybe kind of philosophical, but a grand vision of what we're here to do, right, is really change the way that enterprise connect their clouds these days, right? Becoming the de facto standard for how you connect new apps, new tools, new tech, right? This is actually enabling all of us, right, to use the latest and greatest, but in a secure way. Really getting there, being the de facto standard, right? And for CISOs, vendors, everybody to understand that if you want to connect, right, to any critical, important system, and that's how everything works, right? It's going to be connecting to Active Directory, connecting to a CRM or production environment, right? You have to do it in a secure way, means you have to do it with Astrix, right? This is fundamentally changing, right, how things connect these days. So, it's a long journey. And we're really seeing it built step by step. Super excited.
Absolutely love it. Alon, I wish you all the best of success with Astrix, and onwards and upwards. I'll see you soon. And good luck with the baby.
Thanks for having me.
All mine. Thank you for listening. If you've enjoyed today's show, please like and share with your friends and colleagues, as this is really important for the show's reach. If you'd like to be our next guest or are interested in Aspron Search's staffing solutions, please get in touch directly with me or reach out to us via our website www.aspronsearch.com.